back. This is episode 3. Today we're talking about left hand technique and how to get better intonation. We have a few talking points we need to get to, so we're going to dive right into them. The very first of which is angle of the hand. We're talking about left hand today since this has to do with intonation. So left hand. So angle of the hand. What do we mean by that? For this we mean how your hand is angled on the neck. If it's angled away from you or towards you or however that works. So what we want to get away from is having the hand angled away from us. I call this the open palm angle. We don't want this one because if our hand is angled away from us, our fingers can't get full extension, can't reach around, and as a result, our intonation gets flatter. So the very first thing we want to do is bring that hand around like so. I mean, we don't want it flat. We don't want it flat against the neck. That doesn't help us. What we want is to have it close enough so that we get full extension of the fourth finger, but the hand is relaxed. The best thing to do is just kind of angle it more towards you, towards the neck. Get away from the open palm, angle it more towards you. Very next part we're going to talk about is a little thing that helps a lot with my intonation. Personally, it helped me get really consistent at least. And this one is keeping the fingers down as much as possible. There's several ways to do it. The very first of which is just to consciously do it. If you're playing a scale, keep all the fingers down. There's a couple different techniques we can use to do that. Like keeping the fingers down very consciously the entire time and not lifting them up unless you absolutely have to. There's that one. And there's another one that I was taught when I was first starting, and that was to play everything up in fifth position, but keep the open strings, like and what that does is it helps you keep your fingers really on the string. It increases the connection between their fingertip and the string, and it builds up that habit of keeping them there all the time. The less you lift them up, the better it's going to be for you, better it's going to be for your intonation. So just talking about hand patterns, first of all, briefly, what that is just the pattern and position that your hand is in and just how it translates across the instrument. So if we're playing a G major scale, hand pattern didn't change between the two strings. If I move on, hand pattern didn't change too much even though I shift. So what really helps with hand patterns is using octaves and tenths, and this is more for advanced players. It helped a lot with my hand pattern when I was first starting out. Well, not first starting out, but first trying to get my intonation and my hand patterns in check. So we're just going to talk briefly about octaves and tenths, just to kind of get that out of the way. So what octaves do, first of all, octaves, is it establishes a hand pattern. And what that does is, as I said, it establishes a hand pattern, but it keeps these two fingers in the exact same position in relation to each other. So that distance doesn't change depending on how high you shift. If it's from first to third, distance isn't much of a problem. If we go up into fifth, seventh, or ninth position, distance becomes an issue because things get smaller as they get higher. But that will be covered in another video. But for right now, for this purpose, this is just for first and third position right now. Octaves help with setting this hand pattern so that this distance doesn't change too much. Now if we're doing tenths, what the tenths do is they stretch all of this out so that you can get that nice fourth finger extension when you're just sitting there normally. It gets that fourth finger in, well, the third and fourth finger, both of these, to flatten out so that you can extend farther with less less effort. And that's just more of an advanced technique to kind of get the hand patterns settled down and stretched out. So there's less effort involved with reaching for notes and getting them settled on the string. But if you want to really get your hand pattern set first, go with octaves and then move over to tenths. So the next point we're going to talk about is memorizing your muscle spacing. And what that means is the distance between your fingers, whatever that distance is in this hand. I mean, just like with playing piano or playing any other instrument, there's a muscle space. There's muscle spacing that we have to memorize. Muscle memory. For lack of a better term, muscle memory. And how hard we press, where we press down, how much we have to adjust. That's all part of memorizing your muscle spacing. And that's very important for helping you to establish intonation, good intonation. If you're practicing properly, immediately start thinking about your muscle spacing. And start memorizing, get your muscle memory going. This actually leads into our next talking point, which is the left hand double stop exercise. So what we're going to do for what this part entails is just I'm going to show you an exercise that I teach a lot of my intermediate to advanced students to show them a good way to settle their hand down and teach them a good solid practice technique to get the hand pattern set and give them good intonation. Also gets ears training too. So there's two different ways to do it. The first one is the easier way. So we're going to talk about that one first. So what it sounds like first, and then we'll break it down, is a that's all it is, over and over and over again, and it's going back and forth between a sixth and a fourth, double stops. So we first have the sixth, which is a C natural and an E on A and D string. Then we have a C and a G on A and D. I had to adjust it a little bit because I was listening. My intonation wasn't perfect, so I had to adjust it. So that's a good example of what this exercise can do for you. If it's slightly out of tune, you can adjust it really quickly, and it helps you to get that hand pattern set, and also helps your ear to hear when it needs to adjust, and how to adjust quickly. So that's just a really simple exercise, going back and forth between that sixth and the fourth. There's a variation on that that we can do. We can change the rhythm up. So instead of doing, we can build it up to triplets. Then we can build it up to sixteenths. Then sextuplets. Then 32nd notes. And just kind of an oscillating way to kind of build up the rhythmic part. It really helps with the hand pattern, helps with finger dexterity, helps with so many things. There's a little more complex way of doing it where we can so instead of playing a pedal C on top, we just go back and forth between C and E, but at a slower pace than the lower note. The C, that rhythm doesn't change at all throughout the whole exercise. Everything else underneath it can change, just like we previously did. It can either do it can build off of that, just like in the other part of the exercise. So that's a really good technique that I like to teach most of my students, at least the advanced ones, because it's so great at helping to establish hand pattern. Alright guys, that's our video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some good techniques out of it. Stick around for the next video. For the next one, we're going to talk about how to get more power out of your sound So we're going to be focusing our attention back onto our right hand. I hope you stick around for that, and I hope you get some. I hope you like all the content so far. I value all your feedback. Please feel free to leave a like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want. And yeah, I will be seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.